Find the absolute maximum and absolute minimum values of f on the given interval. Our function is t over t minus 1. The domain of this function is all real numbers except 1. But we are looking in between 3 and 5. So this 1 is just outside of this our interest. So we don't have to worry about that part. So whenever we are talking about maximum, minimum, we want to find the critical numbers and evaluate this function at the critical numbers inside this interval and at the endpoints. Okay, so let's find the derivative. So derivative is, it's a quotient. So we must use the quotient rule. And when we have a function divided by another function, its derivative is bottom square on the top, derivative of top times bottom minus derivative of bottom times top. So using that, we get on the bottom square, on the top derivative of t, that's 1 times the bottom minus derivative of bottom, derivative of t minus 1 is just 1 times top is t. Let's simplify. This is 1 times t minus 1 is just t minus 1 minus t over t minus 1 quantity square. On the top, t and minus t, that's just 0. We can cancel that. That leaves negative 1 over t minus 1 squared. So negative can be pulled to the front, 1 over t minus 1 squared. This is a fraction and there is no t on the bottom. That means this is never going to be 0. If we try to set this up equal 0 to find critical numbers, there are none because it's a fraction and there is no t on the top. That is negative 1 over t minus 1 square equals 0. So we set first derivative 0 to solve for t. Those are critical numbers. But here 0 means 0 over 1. If we cross multiply, this is how we solve when we have a fraction. This one negative can be regarded on the top. Negative 1 times 1 is negative 1 equals 0. Okay, it's the false. All that means this is never 0. So there are no critical numbers. This is undefined at 1, but 1 is not in the domain. Okay, this function 1 is not in the domain. Okay, so we don't have to consider 1. Also, we are only interested in between 3 and 5. So 1 is outside of that. Now we evaluate the function. Okay, we evaluate the function. Here is a t value and function value at the critical numbers. There are none in this case. And at the endpoint, so 3 and 5, we just go 3 and 5. Plug in 3 here. 3 over 3 minus 1, that's 2. 3 halves. 5 over 5 minus 1, 4, 5 fourths. Now we got two values, 3 halves and 5 fourths. We are asked to find the maximum, absolute max min. This is 1.5 and this is 1.25. So this is max because 3 halves is bigger than 5 fourths. This is min. And those are the only values here. So we can say those are the absolute max and absolute min. So absolute max value. The location is at 3. The value, max value is 3 halves. And absolute minimum value is 5 fourths. Final.